Hi, everyone. I am so glad you are here today. We are having day 3 of the Anti-Diet Revolution Challenge. 3 days we've been going at it. We have been having so much to talk about, so much still to talk about that I want to get to it right now. I am going to share my screen and get this PowerPoint going. We are. And we're going to go there now. There we are. Welcome everybody. Today is the Anti-Diet Revolution Challenge, and today is day 3. And I'm excited because we have gone through a lot of things in this group, in this program over the last 2 days. And I'm just making sure I'm live here on Facebook. It looks like everything is good. So, who am I? I am Kim McLaughlin. I am a licensed psychotherapist. I am a coach. I am a podcaster on the Feed Your Soul with Kim podcast. If you have not listened, it is really good. We talk about a lot of the things that we talk about here, a lot of things in depth, more things that are more topical to whatever the time of season. I was just done with our podcast talking a lot about the beginning of the year, the new year, the diet, and then prior to that would have been all of the holidays. I am a best-selling author, Feed Your Soul, Nourish Your Life, a 6-step system to peace with food. I'm a speaker. If you have any group or would love to have a keynote speaker, I love speaking in public. And I am a former long-term dieter, very long-term. I have been working alongside of all of you and checking out diet. So actually, let's go through what we have done. What have we covered already? We have covered on day 1, we covered the diet mindset. So we talked about why diets don't work. And all of these are in the Feed Your Soul community Facebook page. All these videos, you can go back and look at them. And for those of you who are listening on the podcast, this is, we have some slides that we go through. And so you can see those slides on the Feed Your Soul community page. So day 1 was diet mindset. We talked about why diets don't work. And I challenged everybody for their doable to look at how many diets you've been on. And what I talked about was I've been on about 4 different diets, multiple times. A lot of money has been spent. A lot of whatever the food is with the certain programs were what I ate. And so I have spent a lot of money on a lot of diet food and a lot of diets. And I did the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And as you know, and I know, that what happens is on a diet, we lose weight, we gain it back. And that's just the cycle. And we talked about that a lot on day 1. So I really got clear and actually had more memories of diets that I had forgotten about. And I'm going to talk about that on my podcast, the Feed Your Soul with Kim podcast, more about the diets that I've been on, because I remembered one that I had totally forgotten about. So we'll talk about that more a different day. Day 2, we talked about, am I hungry? Am I hungry? The starting spot with intuitive eating. We talked about what intuitive eating is about and how it helps us move out of that diet and dieting into something that actually works, that is actually based on biology, based on how we were meant to be with food. And it's been tested. It's been researched. So we measured our hunger and noticed before meals how hungry we are on a 1 to 10 scale. I really encourage you, if you missed day 2, go back to it. It is a foundational idea that whether you're in my emotional eating solutions program or not, it's really one thing that you really, really, really need to know how to do. So I really encourage you to go back to day 2, and I wanted to check in. How are you doing? Have a little gut check with yourself about how are you doing with all of this information, and it might feel overwhelming. And we'll talk about some options in the end about what you can do to move out of that overwhelming feeling, because this is radical and new. And I acknowledge that. So we're going to just do this together as a community and look at food differently and support each other. So here we are in day 3. And we're going to move out of dieting and what we do is we move into what I lovingly call food freedom. So it becomes a way of having freedom with food. And there are 6 components we've talked about for emotional eating solutions. There are 6 components. Is physical, which we talked about on Monday. We talked about the diet mindset. And we also talked about finding out how hungry you are. And that's part of the physical component. Physical component has many more pieces to it, but that's just a piece of it. Today, we're talking about emotional, and that is the second component. The third component is the mental. The fourth component is lifestyle, and that's how you lead your life, how every day works out around going to work, going to school, being with your family, vacations, all the things that happen in our life that our lifestyle that actually affect food, and food affects our lifestyle. So that is the fourth component. The fifth component is mindfulness and how you connect in with your body. When we looked at the physical component of am I hungry? We did some mindfulness work where we took some deep breaths and went into our body to notice how our body feels. That's part of mindfulness. And then the last one, which I think is really the first, should be the first, is self-love. And how are you feeling about yourself? What we know when we go into the diet mindset that we talked about on Monday is one of the components of the diet mindset and the diet cycle is shame, hating yourself, loathing yourself. And what we got to do is spend a lot of time on self-love, because that really, really gets missed. And so self-love is the sixth component that we focus on in emotional eating solutions. Today, we're going to talk about emotions, the emotion component, because it's critical when we talk about overeating. People sometimes don't know that they're eating for emotional reasons. And I too used to not realize that it was emotions that were leading me to a lot of my overeating. So it's really when you eat when you're not hungry. And I find consistently that there are emotions that when I work with my clients back from the time when they ate and work backwards to what was going on, there were feelings that were going on that led them to eat and to overeat. And so then unchecked, our feelings can lead us to overeat. And what we want is to eat primarily from that place of physical hunger, which is what we talked about in day 2. We talked about, am I hungry? And that's really coming from that physical hunger component. One of my podcasts I've talked about, there are many types of hunger and they lead you to eat. And that's not bad every once in a while to eat at a birthday party, eating a piece of cake or eating something that you're not really hungry. Okay, whatever. But it's when it's consistent and repeated in every day that's when it becomes a problem. We all emotionally eat. We all emotionally overeat. Everybody does at some point in time. And this is about where it's more often than not, where it causes you to feel horrible about yourself when you overeat. And you don't know what to do. You feel out of control. And that's what we talk about when we're talking about emotional eating and starting to recognize how emotions play a part. One of the many parts, remember, there are 6 components. Emotions is one part of the whole system that we need to look at. I don't say this to overwhelm you. I just say this to be realistic, that there is a lot of reasons why you overeat, a lot of reasons. And we just want to kind of break through and pull them apart one by one by one. So emotions can be tough to recognize, but unchecked, they can lead you to overeat. what we want you to do first is to start noticing that something is off. And that is kind of a check. And the more I've gotten better at noticing my emotions, that it's just like something doesn't feel quite right in my body around me. Something's wrong, something's off. And so I love the starting spot to be to check in with your body. Once I've made the connection, something's off, I go, let's take a check. Is it my jaw is tight? Is it my hands are tense? Is it my shoulders? Is it my gut? Is it my tummy? Is it my legs, my toes? Something feels off, my head. So check in with your body first to start recognizing and start noticing how you feel. What I hear from people consistently is that they don't know how they feel. And that's why we go through this step by step process over and over again to start recognizing, what is that feeling? What is that feeling that's happening? And so just noticing, having this kind of moment to go, how am I feeling? How am I feeling? The next thing I find that is really, really important is to name that feeling. There are hundreds of words in the English language, at least, for feelings, hundreds of them. I've seen huge lists of them. When I start with people on how to identify feelings, I like to go to a basic list, because often a lot of offshoot words can fit into some of these words right here. Sad. Am I feeling sad? Mad, happy, anxious, bored, and lonely. Sad, mad, happy, anxious, bored, lonely. Those are just some of the basic feelings that I find lead us to overeat. And within each of those words, there are a lot of other words you could use, but those are some basics. I find a lot of the time, if you're noticing eating in the evening, overeating in the evening, it often has something to do with being bored or being lonely. Two really key words, or stress. Stress is not a feeling so much as is a conglomeration of feeling, but just like a lot of feelings all at once. Those seem to really lead to nighttime eating, nighttime after work eating. And so I want to say that because you're in good company if that happens to you, because that happens to a lot of us. I remember that being really a part of my story, is coming home from work and laying on the couch watching television and overeating, and just really not being in touch with my body, my emotions, my hunger at all. So then we look at what am I feeling, and what is this feeling needing from me? Like, what is this feeling trying to tell me? What does it want? I was working with somebody the other day, and we talked about the bored feeling bored in the evening. And it's like, well, so what is it you might need to move off of feeling bored? And that might mean I need to, or I'd like to read a book, or I'd like to take a walk, or I'd like to call a friend, or go out to dinner with a friend. There might be something that you need if you're having that feeling. And so that feeling, once you check in with your body, notice how you're feeling, name the feeling, then that feeling can lead you to some kind of ability to know what to do, or to have some idea of some categories. I like to work with people in my emotional eating solutions group, and we talk about having a wellness plan so that you're well prepared. If that bored feeling shows up, these are the things I generally do that work. And so then you have an action plan of how to engage with that feeling in a way that's productive, because the feeling is trying to tell you something. And then the last thing is do something to help with that feeling. What is it you need to do to help with that feeling? And that's very personal, and something everybody should figure out, to have this idea. We do that with kids, when they're feeling over. I remember with my daughter when she was little, when she had that kind of anxious and overwhelmed feeling, I generally, for her wellness plan was like, are you hungry? Because that for her was often that kind of, I'm feeling out of control feeling for her often came because she wasn't monitoring her hunger. And so I would just ask her, are you hungry? And gosh darned if more often than not, she would have something to eat and then shoop, and she'd be, hi, mommy. I mean, literally, it was that much of a change. And it was because that feeling meant she was hungry. So notice what the feelings are. Notice the feelings, name them, and ask what they're needing from you, and then do that. So I want that to be a doable. We have, if you've been with us the last 2 days, we have doables of something to do. I think it's good to know a strategy, a theory, an idea, and begin to get insight. But until you have a plan of action, it just sits there. We've been to so many classes, we've done so many things, and it's like, yeah, I know it, but I don't do it. And this is where I think doables are good. So today, the doable is start noticing your feelings throughout the day. Do a regular check of your feelings. Remember, yesterday we talked about checking in about how hungry you are. So you could, while you're checking in with how hungry, how do I feel? You have a win-win-win, right? How hungry am I? Where's my hunger level? And how do I feel? Also, definitely check in with your feelings if you're thinking of, I want to eat, I need to eat, and feel kind of out of control or feel like it's just kind of this massive thing I've got to eat. Possibly you're too hungry and possibly there's some feelings that are going on. So do that regular check-in of your feelings throughout the day and give them a name. Name them. And then another added bonus, if you want, I should put this is a bonus question. These last two ones is, how do you feel before you eat? How are you feeling? Peaceful, calm, centered, upset, angry, anxious. How are you feeling before you eat? And then how are you feeling after you eat? Upset, angry, satisfied, content, like lots of feelings, right? And obviously those move beyond the feelings that I was just talking about, but there are these feelings that it's starting to notice with this connection with the feelings and how they're showing up with food. How are they showing up with food? So these are some extra bonus doables throughout the day. Check in, how am I feeling? Name the feeling. Check in before you eat, how am I feeling? And check in after you eat, how am I feeling? It's a great way to start getting in touch with that, those emotions, and then what they're meaning for you. The other thing I want you to know is that we're going on the kind of the surface level of all these things. Each of these techniques, these ideas will save your booty a lot. Like it will be life-changing. And there is also a need to get all of those components in alignment, right? Getting them in alignment. I think of them all as puzzle pieces: physical, emotional, mental, lifestyle, mindfulness, self-love. They're all puzzle pieces that we got to fit in together, and they've all got to fit in well with each other, because sometimes the emotions feel more out of control than some of the other areas. So that emotional piece of the puzzle is larger. And joining in a program that helps you recognize all of those areas. If you notice the 6 areas, like it makes sense why diets don't work, because they just focus on food and how much food. And there's no focus on the whole person. So Emotional Eating Solutions is our signature system to help you move out of overeating, overwhelm, and into a place of peace with food. These techniques that we've been talking about, we go deeper, a lot deeper. And it is really the place for, if any of this is resonating for you, this is the time to jump into Emotional Eating Solutions. It's super affordable. It's $297 at this point in time. Later in the year, we're going to raise the price. Also, what's coming up is get in now in Emotional Eating Solutions, because we are going to have a live round where I'm going to walk it through with you. It's right now, it's a standalone course that is videos and audio that I taped a couple of years ago. And so I'm going to redo all the audio and videos with you. So you're going to be there firsthand getting latest information. The reason why you want to sign up right now is because I am giving you a bonus of a 30-minute coaching call with me. That is extraordinary. I charge $350 an hour. You do the math. That is a huge bonus. And I actually don't do this very often. I don't give away a coaching call like this. And so we will set it up, the 30-minute coaching call. Once you buy into Emotional Needs Solutions, we'll set it up. Maybe you want it in the beginning to get you started. Maybe you want it in the middle for when you're not understanding or things don't fit. And then, or you could do it at the end, wherever you want to. You need to do something. If any of this information has resonated with you, you got to do something to move out of that overwhelm and into that place of peace with food. But there's more. We're going to have 2 more days left. Thursday, tomorrow at 12 o'clock Pacific is self-care. Self-care wraps around all of these areas that we've been talking about. It's a glue that helps all of those puzzle pieces of all those components fit together. It's something you don't want to miss. We're going to do some doables that you will have that will last you through the weekend. And they're going to be strategies that literally will be game changers for you. And then on the 6th, Monday the 6th, we are going to have up to an hour-long Q&A call with me. So I am inviting everybody who has signed up for the Anti-Diet Revolution Challenge that you can fill out. I have a Google Doc that's in the email that I send out to all of you. It's in the Google Doc that shows that has a place where you can write down your question. So I am answering questions. I'm hopeful that we'll be, I think we're going to go live in Facebook only that day, and then I can see the chat and get questions from all of you. So that I'll let you know more, but we will absolutely be in the Feed Your Soul community Facebook page on Monday the 6th. And I want to take your questions. So let me get out of here. I'm going to see if there's anything in the chat. Oh, people are saying hi, hello, and they're really resonating. Thank you all. That people are really resonating with what we're talking about. So thank you for that. I'd love to hear people's doables. What are you going to do? What are you going to do differently? And literally, this is like, how am I going to come to the table differently? That's what I think about, is how, that literal and figurative, how do I come to the table differently? So we still have more time together. Do your doable today. How am I feeling? How am I feeling? Me, I'm feeling a little hungry. I'm at a 3 right now on our 1 to 10 scale, because as I tell you, I don't eat before I do one of these lives, and it's right at my lunchtime. So I am feeling hungry and I'm going to go eat. I am so appreciative of all of you being here. The video is going to be in the Feed Your Soul community, and I look forward to talking to you tomorrow. We'll be on Thursday at 12 o'clock Pacific. Look forward to seeing you then, and have a great rest of your day, you guys. Bye.